Hello.
Hi, Lakshman.
Hi, Ashish.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi everyone.
Lakshman is founder of Meru Data Solutions, and he'll be talking on Azure Data Factory today. Okay, so yeah, over to you, Lakshman.
Yeah,
So next.
thank you, Ashish. Hi everyone, and good afternoon. So we are having a wonderful session from the morning. So it's great to have in the virtual data camp, everyone. Okay, here we go. So today I'm going to talk about, it's about me. I have a 15 years experience in the IT industry, working in various Microsoft technologies, and I have providing the business solutions for the uh, intelligence solutions for the banking and manufacturing industry. And recently I started a startup, Meru Data Solutions. Currently I'm working the data migration project. So this is about me. This is my LinkedIn profile. You can connect. And okay, about today's session. Okay, today's session we going to talk about the Azure Data Factory and how the setting up the Azure Data Factory and moving data from the Blob storage to Azure SQL Database using the Azure Data Factory. And we'll be talking about some integration runtime, which is and the self-hosted integration runtime as well as, and we'll be ending up with the demo. Okay, let's start the session now. Okay, what is data factory? In the world of data, we have a lot of data is coming with the high speed, and we need to analyze the data to get the insights from the data. So this will be very useful for the data analytics tools to provide the decisions to the higher management. So for that, we need to provide the data from the various sources. So we are getting the data from uh, many devices like mobile, IoT devices, and as well as that we have like CSV files and structured data like relational database as well. So we need to integrate all those data into one place to provide the provide the decision for the analytics tools. So for that we need some integration tool which connects various data sources. So in the market we have many other integration tools. So and from the on-premise side we have in Microsoft we have a SSIS we are using for the quite a long time. So it's the SSIS is quite wonderful tool which is here in the market for more time. And now in the cloud era, we need to integrate the data in the cloud. So for that, we need to change our approach. Like if you take the SSIS, basically it's like extraction, transform, and loading. So it's kind of we need some time to process and load the data to provide the information for the target, maybe that analyst service or whatever the reporting in the end. So and and again we have for SSIS we need to it is an on-premise integration service. So it's like you need to have your own infrastructure and your own server infrastructure you should be having. And again, if if the data is huge and you want to scale up rapidly, then it is not possible, and you need to get the more infrastructure. It is not easy for the SSIS, on-premise side ETL operations. So here that Azure Data Factory provides the cloud service which built for complex hybrid ETL and as well as ELT data integration projects. So it's like no need to do the transformation immediately. So once you need to load, extract, load, then you do the transformation and provide your data to that next application. And this one is automates and orchestrates the entire data integration process from end to end. So this is the and we have this is the basic intro for the data factory. So now, so if you take the data factory, there are some key components we be focusing on that setting up the data factory. So this one here we have we need to have link service. That is the first thing I need to highlight. So link service is kind of normally in SSIS will be connecting the source and target using the connection string. So that will be connecting various data sources. Here the link service is acting as a connection string. So which using the link service, it can connect the various data sources. And we have a data. You have a data set. Data set is kind of the data, subset of data which connect. Basically, it's a source. You can connect the source using the link service. That is the data set. Then using the activity. Activity is kind of any copy or the store procedure data flow activity. So any actions done in the Azure Data Factory is called activity. So and this everything will be controlled by the pipeline. So it's kind of logical grouping. So in the pipeline you can have multiple activities. So it's basically it will logical grouping the activities. Okay, here is the data factory. Okay, when you talk about data factory, so it's like more or less it's like equivalent to SSIS. So we need to know why we already have SSIS, why we need to have the Azure Data Factory, and if Azure Data Factory is the replacement of SSIS, that questions obviously will be coming. So to this one, if you take SSIS, and again you need to know when we need to go for the Azure Data Factory and when we need to stick with the SSIS packages. So this, if you see that this slide, here we have on-premise and cloud services. So on-premises, we have data stores, and data stores, SSIS integrates the data stores with the SQL Server or some other file system. So this way, yeah.
Lakshman, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Here we are connecting the on-premise, and using the SSIS, we'll be integrating with the SQL Server. So for the Azure side, we can use the SSIS. Here we have the same type is the data stores in the cloud, and which uses the Azure Data Factory, and it's connect to the managed instance. Connect to the managed instance or also Azure file in the cloud side. And if you want to integrate and data factory, Azure Data Factory, we can use SSIS as well. So you can, but there are some limitations for that. I will explain you that limitations which when we are using SSIS in the Azure Data Factory. So this way, it's when you are talking about on-premise, it is SSIS is the best option. You can say if already that infrastructure exists, and you can, there is no plan to move to the Azure Data Factory cloud. Maybe this SSIS would be the best option. You can keep it. And for migrating, then depends on the complexity on the SSIS. For example, in the SSIS, when you are using that script component, so you can write a script component in the SSIS normally. So the script component, when it's evolving, you will be adding the complex logic in SSIS script component. So in that scenario, when you are moving this SSIS to the Azure Data Factory, there are those features may not be supported in the Azure Data Factory. So before moving SSIS to Azure Data Factory, you need to analyze and assess this SSIS is fully compatible with the cloud side, because when you are using SQL, you will be referring some third-party data as well. So that may not be supported in the Azure Data Factory. So these things you need to consider before migrating on-premise SSIS to Azure Data Factory. And one more thing is, if it is simple as just data movement from source A to target B, then it is obviously easy to move the SSIS into the cloud. Okay, when you are moving the okay, this is our Azure Data Factory Cloud and on-premise usages. So we have here we have a on-premise servers, and we have a SQL Server in the on-premise. And in the Azure Data, here in the cloud, we have Data Factory, which integrates the virtual network with the Azure Data, Azure database side. So here we need to have to connect Azure Data Factory with the on-premise as well as the Azure. There is an integration runtime is the important one. So the integration runtime is the key component which connects the, which manages the, which provides the facility to Data Factory to run on the cloud side. So here, so this is the basic definition of the integration runtime. So this this provides the compute infrastructure for the Data Factory, and we have a data flow which is like managing the Azure component. So data flow is something like it's controlled if you talk about the SSIS, it's kind of control flow, and the transformation also. Now you need to have a lot of transformation in the data flow. Earlier in earlier version of Data Factory, we don't have that transformation, so it's just basically copy activity, like from source A to target B, you will be moving the data. When the data flow, which has a lot of facility with the transforming the data, and the data, and one more thing is the data movements. Data movement is basically, it's a copy of data from private to private network and on-premise network. So private, if you are and we have a activity dispatch, which is used to monitoring the transformation activities and the logging. How when we are running the ADF jobs, we can monitor and debugging. This will be very useful for the debugging and the monitor the jobs. And SSIS package, this is where we can execute the existing SSIS packages in the cloud environment. So it's one of the major improvement in the ADF. So here to connect the sources, the Data Factory, which records the integration runtime, which is by default the Azure integration runtime. This is Azure integration runtime, which connects all the services from the Azure side. And if you would like to connect the on-premise or your cloud private network, we need to have a separate integration runtime, which is self-hosted integration runtime. So this self-hosted integration runtime, we need to install on the suppose if you are using the VM, we need to install that in the VM machine in the cloud, and on-premise we need to install that integration self-hosted integration runtime on the servers. Okay, here my demo is I'm going to copy the file from the Azure Blob storage to my SQL Server. So Azure, this is kind of, so to get that, to access the Azure Blob storage, I need to have that Azure storage account. So I'll be using the Blob, which has the data. So this is the kind of basic storage account, data storage account types. which we'll be using in the Azure. So this is my demo. So here we have the blob storage, and this is where that our link service which connects the blob storage, and this is my data set. So this data set is something like kind of source. I mean, from this data, what is the format we'll be getting. So this data set will be passed to the data factory. This data factory, again, normally when you are having the data factory, you should be having two data sets. One for the source side when we are reading the source files, and the other one we are moving to the target side. So the same structure, the data set, and this link service which connect to the target environment. Here we have that our target is now this is SQL Server. So now I'll quickly jump into the demo. Here I have created a data resource group for this demo. So here I have a storage account and created a SQL database, and we have a data factory. So now let me go to the storage account where we have that our source file. So this is my blob storage. Here I already created a container called container data camp 2020. So here I have my the folder, and the folder I have that US 500 CSV file, this kind of customer data list. So I'll be moving this file data to the SQL Server, Azure SQL Server. Here I have a little less. Just I'll take the okay. Here I have like around 500 user list I have. So this will be I'm moving to the Azure SQL Server. So this is my source. And this is my target. So this is where I created a Azure Data SQL Database. Here in SQL database, we can connect through the query editor in the Azure itself, or we can connect using the SSMS using the server name. So server name you need to get from the, let me show the server name from where you can get. So this is the server name where you will be you can connect using the SMS. So you can just copy this and in SSMS you can paste and give the same username password. This I'm using the SQL Server authentication for the simplicity of demo. Okay, this is one way we can connect using our SSMS. We can work with the Azure databases. Now I have a table. Okay, this already I have some data. Let me. Okay. Okay, now let's go to the data factory. To create a data factory, we need to select search here data factory. Here we need to add this. We need to give the data factory name, area. This. And there are two versions we have, V1 and V2. I'm taking the V1, and this is my subscription, and this is my existing resource group I'm using. The server location I'm using this. And you can integrate this all the ADF into the GitHub. So now I'm not using this one. Okay, this will be deployed in 30 seconds. I think it will take. So here, this will create a data factory. Okay, let me open the existing. Okay, once that the data factory is created, then you can open the data factory. So this is the UI. So here, as I told earlier, here we have that key components. In the left panel, you can see there are pipelines and data set, data flow, and we have connections which will have that link service and the integration runtime. So these are the major components which will be configuring for any data factory. So once, okay, here it's done. Oh, this is my data factory created for demo 3. So this is the author monitor we need to open for the data factory. This will open the UI for the ADF. Okay, here, okay, let me configure the, first I go from the link service. So to connect any source or the target, we need to use the link service. So now my source is from the Blob. So here I can search. Here we have a lot of data store information is available. So you can select whichever you'll be using. So now I'm using the Blob storage. And this is the integration runtime. So okay, there are this is auto resolve integration runtime, which you can use for the Azure components. Here I have that source is there in the Azure Blob storage, and my target also in the Azure SQL Database. So this should be fine. Then, or you can create, if you want to create your own new connection string. Runtime you can set here. Here, this is where you need to select whether it's a self-hosted or using the Azure integration runtime, or you are going to use the existing integration runtime. So self-hosted, this is where you need to connect any sources or target, I mean any activities you are doing on on-premise or private network, including the virtual network you will be setting up in the Azure itself. Now I am using the Azure integration, so the existing should be fine for me. And okay, here there is a connection string and Azure keywords. Here now I'm going to use the Azure subscription, which okay, this is my once you select this subscription, it will show that storage account name under this subscription. So you can select the which storage account you want to use, and here you can select the link service, which is this storage account, or you can directly, if you want to use the directly that particular folder, you can select here. I'm going to use the link service and test the connection. So if its connection is successful, so it's right. And we have one more option. I would like to highlight this one. Okay, suppose if you want to use that, here we are using the account key instead of you are using the principal service principal ID or the manager identity. So service principal, you can enter the subscription. This is kind of more secured than the account key. Okay, this is the way we need to create the Azure Blob storage link service. Already I have that link service, so I'm just canceling this one. And one more, we need to create a SQL server site. So SQL server, I mean Azure SQL database. So for that, I need to select. Here the server name is this one. So database, I'm using the data CAM, and SQL authentication, I'm using that. Okay, this is how we need to create the connection string. So once we have a link service, once we have the link service, we need to next we need to create the data set. See in that. So this is done. So now we need to create a data set for the source and target. So now our data set is, we are taking data from the blob storage. So this is my data set. So here these are the currently we are supporting, these are the these types of files. Now I am selecting the delimiter text as CSV file. And this is my link service, which connects to the blob. And okay, here we can browse and select the particular file. So this is my container in the blob storage. So I'm choosing this CSV file. And we need to create one more for the targets. This is my link service to the SQL customers table. This is my so now we have. Now we have source and customer data set is ready. Now we need to create a pipeline. So this is where the activities. So we have different category of activities like transform, move and transform, and Azure functions, Databricks, and we have we need to do the VLOOKUP, and we can execute the another pipeline and execute the package. So here we need to connect the SSH packages, and we can call that store procedure inside the ADF. So these are the other options available here. So now I am using the copy. Let's say Blob 2 SQL source and see the Blob customers. Okay, this is my data set, source data set. So to confirm, you can see the preview data. So once the connection string, everything is fine, then you can see the data in the preview here. And this is kind of recursive. If you want to loop through all the files and load everything to the target, so you need to select this recursive. So I'm just removing this one. I have only one file. And there is a partition discovery. It's basically, okay, when you are this kind of scenario, when from the IoT or some other source application which populates the file into the blob storage. So on daily basis, you need to take the file and load into the some other databases for the reporting service. So here you can filter only the daily basis. Suppose today only January file you load, and only the past 2 days files only keep loading. So that information we can set here. So if you say that particular date, and it will only modified dates start with this, it will load. Only if any files before this date, it will not touch. So this is kind of filter, providing the filter functionality. Okay, now this is my selected source, and go to sync SQL customer. Okay, this is the my SQL customer table. So if here there is options available. Suppose if the table is not available, you can create. I already created table. So here the data is there already. The data is loaded into the file. The table. So with that next time runs, if already existing, what is the pre-copy script? So normally we can drop and create. Delete and reload the table. So you can write the script for the. So before executing this, inserting data into the our customer table, this script will execute and clear all the data from the table. And mapping. So mapping, if you can import the schema to verify what are the columns are coming from the source and target. So here, suppose if you want to add the additional, you can have the new mapping, kind of created dates, something you can add here. Now I am removing, not using this one. Now I have that configuration is done. To validate all the configuration is correct, and you can verify that validate all. So it's fine. So I can debug. So this will run the debug mode, and it will load the data from Azure Blob to the SQL Server. Okay, here you can see that output. So currently it is executing and it is keying. So here you can view that execution state. Okay, here is my field. I have rows written records are in that table in this file, and it is loaded into the my target table. Now we go to the I have 10 records. Oh, sorry. I selected the source file which has the 10 records, so that's why. Okay. Now we have copied the source to target, and we can same way you can do the reverse layout, like from the Azure SQL Database to the Azure Blob also we can copy. You need to just create another copy activity, and you need to just select the. Now our source is SQL, and here you need to select that query, or it will what it will do, it will copy all the value from coming here. So here you can do any filter. You can do the customers, for example, top 5 customers. This is my blob. Okay, there is actually this one we selected the file name which we are going to copy. Now if you want to create a variable for the one, so you need to when you're copying from SQL data table to that file, so you need to append the current date along with the file name. So that you need to create a data set, and we can dynamically create a file name. So this is, I'm creating the customers under UTC now. So this will give you the current date and time. So here you have ADF is providing a lot of options, functions for the dynamic, adding the dynamic content. So you can do that conversion. There are conversion function and the string date function and string functions which you can concatenate, and that you need to have replace the file, split the string. So all this string operations functions is available here. So now I just provided the customers with the current date. So this one I need to provide in the copy activity. This is my target. So now the current pipeline is running. Hold on, let me check the here. Okay, that's run. Let me try again. Okay, column dependent mapping duplicate. Things. Start from customers. Yeah. So we can say that 5 records created in under the Blob storage. We can verify that. Okay, this is the file created. So we have created 5 records from the SQL server. Okay, now sorry. Okay, now we have created the pipelines. So currently this is not published yet. So that's why here you can say publish or this is none. We need to publish this one to copy data. So once published, we can schedule and run the data factory. So here this is the monitor, which is where we can verify the all the execution plan. I mean job execution of the pipelines or the scheduled job. And to trigger any job, I mean any data, we need to here we can come here. So this way add trigger, new edit. So here you can schedule a job. So when you want to trigger daily basis, or this is like any other scheduling job. And here that suppose the file, when the file is pumped to the, copied to the blob storage, if you want to trigger that particular point of time, so here there is an event. So here you can select which at what point you need to trigger this job. So basically it's like when you are copying this, when the file is copied to this container, and start with maybe current dates, and you can specify, or the particular files you can specify. So when the blob is created, then the job will trigger and the data will be moved to the target source, target okay, this is the basic Azure Data Factory I have done. So is any other question?
Hi, if any other questions, so you can just ping, or maybe you can unmute and can ask directly. Yeah. There is one question on.
Okay, integration runtime for on-premise requires license to install. No, it's not required. When you're selecting, okay, let me show that information. So when you're selecting the self-hosted information, here there are two options it will be giving. One is that Express setup. This will be set up. It will install the integration runtime in the my PC, the current, or you can download the setup. And if you want to install the integration runtime in the other servers like VM, you need to install that one and copy this one. This is kind of authentication. So this will be entered in the integration runtime. So here I will, once installed, so that you will be like this. That so this is how that self-hosted integration runtime will be installed. So this, if you see this one, this is connected to the cloud service. So that's why should be able to connect the if any databases, any database available in the self-hosted integration runtime server, then you should be able to connect. Is there anything else? Okay, then thank you.